Respected, if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, one day you'll wake up and realize your dreams have expired while your excuses stayed alive. Today, for the next few minutes, I want you to face the one enemy that has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. Not fear, not rejection, laziness. And by the time this message is over, you may never look at your life the same way again. There comes a moment in every person's life when the mirror stops lying. You wake up one morning, stare at your own reflection, and realize something painful. You're not tired because life is hard. You're tired because you've been carrying around unfinished dreams. Every promise you made to yourself, but never kept, becomes a weight on your heart. Every goal you delayed becomes another voice, whispering, maybe you're just not meant for greatness. I want to tell you something that changed the way I look at success. Most people think laziness means lying in bed all day. They imagine someone who refuses to work, refuses to move, refuses to care. But that's not the dangerous kind of laziness. The dangerous kind smiles while it steals your future. It tells you to start tomorrow. It convinces you that one more hour won't matter. It makes comfort feel like safety, while quietly turning your greatest potential into your biggest regret. The truth is, laziness doesn't always look lazy. Sometimes it wears expensive clothes. Sometimes it has a good job. Sometimes it even looks successful from the outside. But inside, it knows it has settled for less than it was capable of becoming. I remember hearing about a young man who had every opportunity in front of him. He was intelligent, healthy, full of talent. People constantly told him he was gifted. Every time someone praised him, he smiled. But every night, instead of building his future, he entertained himself until sleep found him. He wasn't making bad decisions. He was making comfortable decisions. Years passed. His friends started businesses. Some learned new skills. Some failed and got back up. Some struggled so much that people laughed at them. But those same people eventually succeeded because they kept moving. Meanwhile, the talented young man was still talking about what he planned to do. One evening, he attended a reunion. As he looked around the room, he realized something heartbreaking. The people he once considered less talented had built lives he secretly wished were his. Driving home, he couldn't blame luck. He couldn't blame his parents. He couldn't blame the economy. The only thing standing between him and the life he wanted had been the decisions he made every ordinary day. That is how dreams disappear. Not in one dramatic moment, not because someone stole them, they disappear quietly. One delayed morning, one skipped opportunity, one excuse at a time. You know what's amazing? Your future isn't built during the biggest moments of your life. It's built on ordinary Tuesdays, when nobody is watching. It's built when the alarm rings and your bed feels warmer than your purpose. It's built when nobody would blame you for resting, but you choose discipline anyway. Because discipline isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. People think discipline traps you. No. Discipline is the key that unlocks every door laziness keeps closed. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to work hard for someone else's dream? People wake up before sunrise to make another company successful. They stay late, meet deadlines, push through exhaustion, but when it comes to their own dream, suddenly they're too tired, too busy, too overwhelmed. Think about that. You already have proof that you can work hard. The question isn't whether you're capable. The question is whether you've decided your own future deserves the same effort you give everyone else's. Life has a strange way of rewarding movement. A parked car can't be steered. It doesn't matter how powerful the engine is. Until it starts moving, nothing changes. Your life works the same way. Stop waiting until you feel motivated. Motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you'll wake up feeling unstoppable. Other mornings you'll question everything. If your success depends on your feelings will betray you. Successful people don't move because they feel inspired. They move because they made a decision. And decisions are stronger than emotions. There was an elderly carpenter who spent decades building beautiful homes. Every house he built reflected excellence. One day, he decided to retire. His employer asked him for one final favor: build just one more house. The carpenter agreed, but his heart wasn't in it anymore. He used cheaper materials. He rushed the work. He skipped the details that once made his craftsmanship famous. When the house was finished, his employer handed him the keys. This house is yours. Imagine the silence that followed. Everything he had cut corners on would now belong to him. The weak foundation, the poor materials, the unfinished details. Many people are building their lives exactly like that carpenter built his final house. Every shortcut, every excuse, every lazy decision. They're building the house they'll have to live in tomorrow. You cannot escape the consequences of today's habits. The scary part isn't that laziness wastes a day. The scary part is that it teaches your mind that wasting days is normal. And once something becomes normal, changing becomes difficult. But difficult does not mean impossible, because the same mind that learned laziness can learn discipline. The same person who wasted years can transform the next decade. The same individual who doubted themselves can become someone others admire. Your past may explain your habits. It does not decide your future. Maybe no one taught you consistency. Maybe nobody encouraged your dreams. Maybe you failed so many times that trying again feels terrifying. I understand that. Life can be heavy. Disappointment can drain your energy. Failure can make effort seem pointless. But hear this, with every part of your heart. Your story is not over because you had slow chapters. Books become unforgettable because of the comeback, not because the beginning was perfect. The greatest victories often belong to people who almost gave up, but chose one more step, just one more early morning, one more application, one more workout, one more page, one more prayer, one more attempt. That single decision repeated every day becomes a completely different life. Nobody becomes extraordinary overnight. They become extraordinary by refusing to quit during ordinary days. That's where greatness is born. Not under bright lights, not on stage, not in applause, but alone, when nobody is watching, when excuses are loud, when comfort is calling, and purpose quietly whispers, keep going. The people you admire aren't different because they never felt lazy. They're different because they stopped negotiating with laziness. Every morning they made a choice, not a feeling, a choice. And eventually, those choices became their identity. One day, if you continue choosing discipline over delay, action over excuses, and purpose over comfort, people will call you lucky. They'll never see the invisible battles you fought with yourself when nobody else was there. They'll only see the results, but you'll know the truth. You didn't defeat the world. You defeated the version of yourself that wanted to stay comfortable forever, and that victory changes everything. There is something I wish every person could understand before another year slips away. The greatest battle of your life will never be against another human being. It will never be against your boss, your critics, your competitors, or even your circumstances. The greatest battle is the one that happens inside your own mind every single morning. Every sunrise asks you one question: who is in control today? Is it your purpose, or is it your comfort? Most people never answer that question with words. They answer it with their actions. You see, comfort is one of the most dangerous addictions in the world because it doesn't feel dangerous. It doesn't knock on your door like failure. It doesn't scream at you like fear. It whispers. It says, "You've worked hard enough. Take it easy today. You deserve a break. You can start tomorrow." Tomorrow, that word has buried more dreams than any cemetery ever could. Think about the people who once dreamed of writing a book, starting a business, becoming healthier, changing their family tree, or creating a better future. Most of them didn't fail because they lacked talent. They failed because tomorrow became next week became next month, And before they knew it, years had disappeared. Time never argues with you. It never warns you. It simply keeps moving. One day, you suddenly realize the child you carried in your arms is now an adult. Your parents have more gray hair than you remember. Friends you promised to visit have become strangers. Opportunities that once waited patiently have moved on to someone else. Life doesn't stop while you're deciding whether you're ready. Life rewards those who move before they feel ready. I once heard about an eagle raised among chickens. From the day it hatched, it watched chickens scratch the ground for food. It copied everything they did. It never questioned why it couldn't fly, because nobody around it was flying either. One afternoon, the eagle looked toward the sky and saw another eagle soaring high above the mountains. "What is that beautiful bird?" it asked. One of the chickens replied, "That's an eagle, but don't waste your time looking at it. You'll never become one." The eagle believed the chickens, so it spent its entire life scratching the dirt, never realizing it had wings strong enough to touch the clouds. How many people are living exactly like that eagle? They've accepted limitations they never tested. They've accepted opinions they never questioned. They've accepted ordinary lives simply because everyone around them told them ordinary was enough. Never let people with grounded minds convince you that your wings don't work. Sometimes the reason you're stuck isn't because you're incapable. It's because you've been listening to voices that have never gone where you're trying to go. Protect your mind. Your environment becomes your future. Spend enough time around people who complain, and complaining becomes normal. Spend enough time around people who quit, and quitting becomes reasonable. Spend enough time around people who chase greatness, and suddenly your own excuses begin to sound weak. Your circle doesn't just influence your behavior. It shapes your identity. That's why successful people guard their mindset like treasure. They understand that every conversation plants a seed. Every video you watch, every book you read, every person you admire, every hour you waste, every hour you invest. Little by little, they are building the person you will become. You cannot feed your mind negativity all day and expect confidence to grow. You cannot entertain distraction every hour and expect discipline to appear. What you repeatedly consume eventually controls you. Imagine a farmer who owns 2 fields. One field receives water every single day. The other is ignored. Months later, nobody is surprised which field produced a harvest. Your mind works exactly the same way. Every day you water either discipline or excuses, either courage or fear, either growth or comfort. Whatever you feed will become stronger. The choice has always been yours. There was a young athlete who desperately wanted to become a champion. Every morning his coach asked him the same question: "How badly do you want it?" The athlete always answered, "More than anything." One freezing winter morning, before sunrise, the coach called him outside for training. The athlete looked through the window. The wind was howling. The streets were covered with rain. His warm bed felt impossible to leave. For a moment, he almost stayed inside. Then something inside him said, "Champions are made on mornings exactly like this." Years later, after winning the biggest competition of his life, reporters asked what made the difference. He didn't talk about talent. He didn't mention luck. He remembered that cold morning, because success is rarely decided on the day you receive the trophy. It is decided on the mornings when nobody would have blamed you for staying home. The world celebrates victories, but it never sees the invisible decisions behind them. Every successful person has a collection of private victories. The workout nobody applauded, the lonely nights studying, the business they built after everyone else went to sleep, the sacrifices no one noticed. Those unseen moments eventually become visible success. Here's what many people misunderstand. Action creates confidence, not the other way around. People wait until they feel confident before taking action. But confidence is earned. Every small promise you keep to yourself tells your mind, "I can trust myself." Wake up when you said you would. Your confidence grows. Finish what you started. Your confidence grows. Keep your word even when nobody is watching. Your confidence grows. Eventually, your mind begins believing that you are someone who follows through. That identity changes everything. Because once you become a person who trusts yourself, excuses lose their power. Have you ever noticed how children learn to walk? They don't fall once and decide walking isn't for them. They fall hundreds of times. Sometimes they laugh. Sometimes they cry. Then they stand back up again. Nobody teaches them persistence. Persistence is natural. Quitting is learned. Somewhere along the journey of life, many people stop believing it's okay to fail. They become so afraid of looking foolish that they stop trying altogether. But failure has never been the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every lesson that strengthens your future usually arrives wearing the clothes of disappointment. The strongest people aren't those who never struggled. They're the ones who refuse to let struggle become their identity. Maybe today you feel behind. Maybe you're looking at people your age and wondering why they seem so much further ahead. Stop measuring your chapter 3 against someone else's chapter 20. You don't know the price they paid. You don't know the nights they cried. You don't know the failures they survived. Stay focused on your own race, because comparison steals energy that should be invested in progress. Instead of asking, "Why am I not there yet?" ask yourself, "Am I becoming stronger today than I was yesterday?" That's the only comparison that truly matters. 1% better every day may not impress anyone this week, but over time, those tiny improvements create extraordinary transformation. Mountains are climbed one step at a time. Books are written one page at a time. Businesses are built one customer at a time. Legacies are created one faithful day at a time. Stop chasing overnight success. Start chasing daily consistency. One day you'll look back and realize the life you dreamed about wasn't created in one magical moment. It was created through thousands of ordinary decisions to keep going when stopping would have been easier. That is how laziness loses its grip. Not because you suddenly become superhuman, but because you become someone who refuses to surrender another day of your life to comfort. The most beautiful part of your story has never been your failures. It has never been the days you felt weak or the moments you wanted to quit. The most beautiful part of your story is the decision you make after this very moment. Because every life has defining moments. Not moments when the world applauds. Not moments when cameras are watching. But quiet moments when an ordinary person decides, enough. Enough waiting. Enough doubting. Enough making excuses. Enough giving away another day to laziness while my dreams grow older. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is getting up while others are sleeping. Someone is studying while others are scrolling through their phones. Someone is building a future while others are building excuses. The difference between them is not talent. It is not luck. It is not perfect timing. It is the decision to act when action feels difficult. Never forget this truth. Your future is quietly watching the choices you make today. The person you will become 5 years from now is being shaped by what you choose after this video ends. Not tomorrow, not next Monday, not when life becomes easier. Today. Imagine meeting your future self. Picture a stronger version of you standing confidently in front of you. Healthier, wiser, more disciplined, more peaceful, living the life you once dreamed about. Now imagine that person looking into your eyes and saying, "Thank you, not for being perfect, not for never making mistakes, but for refusing to quit when it would have been easy, for waking up one more morning, for taking one more step, for believing one more time." That future version of you is depending on the decisions you make today. Don't disappoint the person you're capable of becoming. Life will test you again. There will be mornings when your bed feels more comfortable than your purpose. There will be days when nobody believes in you. There will be setbacks that make you question everything. There will be moments when laziness returns wearing a new disguise. When that happens, remember this message. Remember why you started. Remember the dream that still burns inside your heart. Remember that temporary comfort has never created a permanent legacy. The greatest gift you can give yourself is consistency, not perfection, just consistency. Keep showing up, keep learning, keep growing, keep moving. Even if your steps are small, small steps taken every day will always travel farther than giant leaps taken once in a while. One day, without even realizing it, you'll look back and notice something incredible. The habits that once felt impossible have become automatic. The discipline that once felt painful has become your identity. The dreams that once felt distant are now your reality. And you'll understand that you never really destroyed laziness in a single day. You defeated it one decision at a time, one sunrise at a time, one promise kept at a time. That is how ordinary people create extraordinary lives. So when this video ends, don't quit. Let these words become another moment of inspiration that fades before tomorrow morning. Turn them into action. Stand up. Make your bed. Take the first step. Read the first page. Write the first sentence. Make the first phone call. Take the first walk. Begin. Because the hardest step is never the 100th. It is always the first. And once you take it, you prove to yourself that you are no longer controlled by comfort. You are guided by purpose. Your dream is still alive. Your time is still now. Your potential is still waiting. And the world is still waiting to meet the person you become when you finally stop making excuses and start making progress. So walk forward with courage, work with discipline, live with purpose, and never allow another day of your life to be stolen by laziness, because your destiny has been waiting for one thing all along. You. Thank you for listening. If this message touched your heart, don't let it end here. Carry it into your next decision, your next morning, and your next challenge. Remember, every great journey begins with one faithful step, and that step is yours to take today.